All right, it is 6:01 on June 27th. This is the committee as a whole. In attendance, we have Councilperson Martin.
Here.
We have Mayor Southern, we have Councilperson Grant, and myself, Council President Camera, and Councilperson Koss is on her way, and she'll be here at any moment. All right, let's see here. Tonight we have
Pledge of Allegiance,
streets, services, and recreations and parks. So, JP, you want to go first? You said you got some leaf bids.
I have some estimates here.
Okay.
One is between 5 seasons, in the amount of $35,000. And we have one from Brown Master Landscaping Services for $38,500. But the thing is, the 5 seasons only want to come out here 8 times. Whereas Grandmaster Landscaping Services comes out here multiple times, and we had such an exceptional compliments and praises for the community.
When would 5 seasons start? Does it list the dates?
October 21st?
Yes, September of 2024.
Just the beginning of September, or?
It does not have a date. It just says September 2024,
Okay.
October, November, and December. So I'm thinking twice a month.
Okay.
That sounds about right.
I suppose a question would be, when they come, do they do the entire village, as opposed to the other company who kind of does what they can over multiple days?
I don't believe we've had 5 seasons pick up the leads under our park.
No, we haven't, but I'm just wondering if these are questions we should ask.
I think the hard part is we, I'm just going to say it, we haven't had the best service so far this year with the other issues that we've come across. I'm not saying that they haven't done a good job in 90% of it, but I think there is still a big lack of communication. It's been difficult when they're here to be able to communicate with them.
Okay.
I'm just going to say I think it would be a little difficult to even if we had everything on paper the way that we wanted it, going with that particular company. I think we did have a good year last year. The compliments that I got from them, I think it would be well worth it. We kind of know what we're getting. He was able to come out here multiple times. And anytime we need them to come out, they will come out. So, I mean, I think it's almost comparing an apple to potentially an orange. It's twice a month, it's not going to fly. There's no way. I think you're going to have, we have people calling here complaining when they're not out once a week. The residents are used to the once a week thing. So we can always kind of negotiate. It's hard to do that with, as you get closer into December, we can always try to negotiate certain days. We did try, and we did do that last year. We asked him not to come out on Mondays because of, really that was the only day we just asked him not to come out. We told him we preferred not Saturday and Sunday and Monday. So, and it's hard for them to come out on the weekends because some of the dumps are closed. So I don't know exactly where they're going to pick up or drop off this year. But it does make a little bit more sense to go with the company that we had really good luck with last year.
Yeah, I think it's really going to behoove the village. Plus, he does know that this company knows the neighborhood very well. My suggestion would be the ground landscape.
Okay.
But I don't know if we need all.
Well, it would go, I think we have to do legislation for it.
No.
We don't?
No, it's already been appropriated for this year, and it is.
Yeah, but it's a contract, right?
Under the bid limits, and I do believe he's on our list.
Okay.
So I don't believe we have to do anything.
Okay.
Also, if my memory serves me correctly, we waited until the last minute almost last year. I would like to do that
Well, I think it's nice that everybody knows what's going on and when it's gonna start early. We can start getting it in the newsletter that, pickup season will be on this date. And if Jesse advises us that we need to do, a contract, we can easily have 3 readings before. So that's not gonna be an issue whatsoever. But I know it's under the limit and already appropriated, so I do not believe we have to on this one.
I'd just like to make sure that we know the end date and make sure that that's certain and what day that doesn't on a Monday. People are putting
Right.
stuff out on Monday. Just making sure that people you need to have your stuff out. This is the last week. There will be no pickup after X date.
Yes, I typically put that it needs to start on this date. It will end approximately on this date, weather permitting.
Yeah.
And again, it's gonna depend on how fast they fall and everything. But yes, we do a start date, so people are aware. And even the start date will say approximately.
Yeah.
I
It's
usually
almost
try
like-
to do it like October 15th, December 15th, October 17th, depending on what day of the week
It's like
it
I
is.
want to tell people a week in advance just so they have a week to clean up what people didn't get out.
Yes. We have people that are on our street that have had leaves sitting there since last year.
It's me.
No,
Just kidding.
it's not you, I promise. So yes, and it's not just a
I'm
couple.
the problem, it's me.
Hi, I'm with you. I'm right here, guys. This is the kind of day I've had today.
I didn't have to get us dinner.
This was supposed to be something I split with my family, but I didn't have time to split it, so I'm saving it.
All right, so if that's all is that all we have for services? Okay, so we will work on that, getting all that situated and everything, and I'll find out from Jesse if we need to do anything else. And then if we want to go, do you want to go next on yours and then?
I don't really have much. I really don't have anything.
I don't think I do either.
Yeah.
And then we have streets. Do you have anything for streets?
We gotta start planning paths and things, so we gotta figure that out. But at this point, I think we need to figure out the lake before we can figure out paths. But those need to go together. And if anybody has any ideas, I think we just need to kind of get with planning and zoning and
Yeah.
start thinking about that
I think we really need to have an overall,
meeting.
we need to really know.
We need a
where
master
we want-
plan.
That's what
Yeah,
we
we
talked
don't
about
have
last-
that.
yeah,
Like,
that's a
what-
meeting, yeah.
What are we
We need a
doing?
master plan
Yeah.
because,
A lot of P&Z has been talking about that and doing
Yeah.
different things in P&Z, like this would be a great place, like that was our entire meeting the last time. Was talking about, some of the little places and the potential of over by the lake and all of that, so maybe that's something that P&Z is gonna continue to tackle and then bring the list to you guys, I don't know I
Yeah.
believe that's the plan.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to say this is where we should spend any money that we may get without knowing
Right.
what the overall picture is.
Yeah.
So,
And then we have the bridge or bridges
Right.
that are gonna be pretty excessive, and, I think the topic needs to come as to, are there other less expensive options versus what we're
yeah.
given one option, but I cannot imagine that there is not something that is less expensive,
It does everything
I can't
we do
even, like,
have
get
to
the
go
sentence
through
out.
an engineer to
Yeah.
examine what the best option is. Can we just go with some contractors and get some bids on, hey bro, what do you think this is gonna take to work?
Yeah, yeah. that's
So,
right.
I think that there's a couple different things that we need to look at on that. I think the estimate we were given was what, $250,000 or $300,000 to fix the bridge? That's each bridge.
Yeah,
So I
think
feel
it was
like,
3 something.
I'm with everybody else, I think we're gonna go get some little floaties and tell people to use the floaties
Yeah,
to go
yeah, yeah.
across or
I
something.
mean, the one thing I did appreciate in that plan was the fact that the bridges were, they were put out further.
Yeah.
So that when the waters come, it's not even touching the bridge.
Right.
Like it's not gonna hit any foundations or anything.
Well, and I do think that's the issue. I mean, yes, there's probably a less expensive option, but is it the best option? It may not be, because again, you saw how damaged these ones are,
Yeah.
and the amount of water that's hitting them at the speed that it's hitting them, it has to be able to stand that water. I mean, obviously, we can't just go put a little wooden bridge up because it's not gonna last.
How durable are those things? I mean, let's be honest, let's think about that. They've been there for a long time.
Exactly.
And they take on some
They do.
beatings.
They do.
They do make pretty bad bridges, on a website that I've seen. And the average prices was from $20,000 to $40,000 per
That
inch.
sounds
What
better.
was the,
And I wonder if you can just put
what was
it
the length of it?
higher.
That depended upon the price.
And you also gotta think about the width, because you wanna make sure that you can get
Right, but the
equipment over.
Honestly, we just need somebody, can we get somebody out there and be like, hey, can you make me a new one of this? And how much would it cost? Can we do that?
The designs that
Why
I've
can't we-
seen
yeah.
kind of like a
Can't be
nice
that
kind of dome that goes steel. So if you had your foundation, you could just set it on in. and bolt
If
it
it's
to
one
that
bridge at a
foundation.
time and it's less than
Bridge
$75,000.
over trouble village.
30, you know.
Right. I mean, I think only part of it, obviously the big bridges themselves are expensive, but I think you also have some concrete work, you have some grading that has to be done to get them at a new height. And then the bridge itself has to be able to at least hold the AV, not AV.
Mm-hmm.
AV?
The UTV.
Yeah, yeah, what is it?
UTV.
UTV. Equipment as well, right? So,
Gemini contracting.
yeah.
See, but yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a couple different pathways of getting to, I mean, planning and zoning is working on a couple different things.
Yeah, I
and
think they're gonna be pretty busy in the next couple.
But I
of
also
weeks.
do think that with the very high likeliness that we're gonna get that,
Link us.
the 250,000
Oh,
from the last grant, I don't wanna give too much information, and maybe Eric will chime in on that, but it sounds like we're getting $250,000. I don't know when it has to be spent. I don't know what, I mean, that was hopefully to be used for part of the lake, it cannot be used to dredge it. But again, I think the big thing we had talked about was pathways.
Right.
So if planning and zoning has it in their, with them for 6 months, and then we finally get it, that may not have enough time to do what we need to do.
Right.
So I think we just need to keep an eye on timing.
And I know
for
Eric's
this.
mentioned the whole link us,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
I am no way a pollster, but like the sentiment online is like, people are really supportive of it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I couldn't believe, because I expected it to be a little bit more.
40 feet?
No, we need something.
How wide?
We would like, I think people like to walk. It's good for you.
Yeah,
We should be able to
and
walk
safely. I mean,
without
I think more people would walk if they felt,
feeling like Frogger.
Yeah, and that could influence the amount of money that we can get for pathways as well, so you start to say, okay, well, how much?
right. No, I'm with you. Now, the other thing for streets, and I think I don't know if you know this or if you were copied, we do have an issue with with stones being over somebody's property, stones being over top of a sewer grate again. And the issue is if we tell them that they have to remove them and they don't remove them, what do we do? And if we go remove them and we damage something, then we're responsible for them, which is not. Jesse's involved, is all I'm gonna imply on that. So we obviously need to get to it. It's obviously a problem. I don't know exactly. I just saw the email, so I don't know a lot of detail on it other than the fact that Mike has reached out to Jesse for his input, because it's not necessarily something that we want to be involved in and being responsible for any damages if it's not something that is our property.
Right.
So, but it's going to be a requirement that we have to get into it. So I don't know where that's going to go. I mean, I have my opinion about it, but
Are you talking about a certain?
I don't know exactly. I honestly don't. It's within the last week that we've gotten that email, and we can ask Jesse when he comes in.
Okay.
But there is an issue with being able to get to the CCTV is still not done because of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
On
it's,
Park Link Road?
I don't know.
Are
That's
they
what I'm
large
saying, I
rocks?
don't.
Because if that's the case, that's
Are they large rocks?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's go move them.
It should be. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I have the email, so as soon as I get my phone,
Yeah, 'cause
I'll look at it and forward it. Does it have the address on it, do you know?
I don't recall seeing it.
I don't either.
But it's back in there somewhere.
It's in there somewhere.
Okay.
I'm wondering if they thought that it was underneath the flower bed and maybe it's not under the flower bed and it's the
I
same.
think this is something else.
I do
It
too.
sounds like it's something else.
It
but-
does.
Okay, just making sure, because I think if it were what I'm thinking of, that's an easy.
Yeah, so I don't know, and the resident is not aware. I'm assuming the resident is not, this is just a background conversation, and till we find out how we need to handle it, the appropriate channels that the attorney advises us to do.
Okay.
So that was the only thing that I had for streets, the only update I have.
What about, do we want to talk about the,
Yeah.
resolution in here tonight, since that has to do with streets? It's about you getting financial assistance from Ohio Public Works Commission. Did you know that was in here?
Yeah, I know it's in there. It's normal process that we have to go whenever we use Ben.
Okay.
And Ben is going to be coming in and doing a public hearing. And so FYI, July 25th, I'm going to take full blame for this. I've still managed to mess up the times 15 times because you guys are trying to change this from 6 o'clock to 6:30. And then the council meeting at 7:30, but now I need to add Ben in the middle of it. And I thought we were starting at 6, and we're not. We're starting at 6:30, and Ben's scheduled for 6:45, but the council meeting isn't starting until 7:30, and the posts have already all gone out. So Ben's just going to start a little later because, as you can see, we're down.
I thought we didn't do that for July because of.
We didn't do it for June. We're already in July.
Yeah, but I thought when we talked at our work session, because we talked about doing.
I don't know, but we're going to have the same problem in August. I'm already going to warn you. It sounds like we're already going to have some of the other issues in August because, again, we have something coming up. So we can, and I guess that's the conversation to have with you guys right now. We can go back and do it for 6 o'clock. Now, it's not going to be right in the newsletter, and we can just continue to tell people on here, check the Facebook post, but I don't think anybody's going to notice it in the newsletter anyways. But I'm sure somebody will. But we can go back and do it at 6 o'clock is the work session. 6:45 is accurate. That's what we did do for, if we do 6:45 and then 7 p.m. Because if we start our council meeting a few minutes late, if Ben's is, the public meeting is just for people to come in and express their concerns or questions, comments. I mean, they might just want to come in and say how wonderful it is. So it's just for residents to come in here and be able to talk about or ask questions about the particular project. So we can do 6:45 and 7 and do the council meeting at 7. That is fine. Or if you guys want to do the work session, but as you can see, David's not able to get here for the 6th.
We should all quit our jobs.
Sleep early.
Yeah.
Start earlier.
Yep,
Make them show up.
It was.
You were.
Yeah, we were gonna
Not
do the work session and the committee as a whole for the 18th and the 25th at 6:30, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we started them both at 6:30. So I'm just going to say I'm the one that messed it up because I'm the one that she told me 3 times it was at 6:30 and my mind still said 6, so I still scheduled Ben for 6:45 and that was my email to him. But
Why
I mean,
can't
we can tell him.
Why can't we move our stuff around a little bit? Like 6:15. Can you get here at 6? Like, can David start at like?
Well, it doesn't. None of it matters to me. It's just what do we put on the postings that if we have a resident that really wants to come in, we really just need to let them know what time. So, I mean, we can leave it at 6:30. She already has it posted at 6:30, 6:45, and 7:30.
Yeah.
And then I can just send Ben a quick email that says, hey, FYI, it's probably going to be more like 7:15, but it is posted, and I'm not trying to mess people up. I mean, a resident could potentially get mad that they're still listening to a work session if one person or two, I mean, this will be my 3rd one with Ben, and we've never had a resident show up yet, because it is just talking about a grant.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that it's not important, and residents can't come, and I mean, absolutely would love for them to be here,
So we've already put in the time in a newsletter, people, what time this is going to happen.
It missed the newsletter, but we do have 6:30 in the newsletter for the work session to start. But again, I can leave it alone at 6:45 if we really don't have that much to talk about. But then you're going to have a huge gap between that public meeting. So honestly, yeah, I mean, you're going to have a gap somewhere.
Just tell me when to be here is all
I know.
care about.
I'm thinking we leave it at 6:30 because that's what's in the newsletter.
Yeah.
So we're going to do 6:30, and then it's going to be between Barb and I to decide if we want to move that to 7:15 and 7:30. Leave that at 7:30, but then move Ben to 7:15. Because like I said, that was my total mistake. Yeah. So Ben at 7:15.
Whatever you guys want.
I think that makes the most sense.
So anyways, this resolution is for Ben to start the work on finding us money for the
I'm reading it.
Minerva Lake Road project.
Correct.
And that project is from Farview to Westerville Road.
Correct. And then this is the
And
first
that's
reading.
a FY 25 or 26?
2025 is all.
25 is what we're hoping for.
That's sewers and roads and curbs.
I felt like in a
That seems-
previous meeting, we discussed that we're always working a little further out with him on
Yeah.
these projects because of
Actually-
because of due dates. But maybe that was for that might have been for that interest-free loan that we've been getting in the past.
Yeah, this is the Minerva Lake Road. But it doesn't. I'm almost positive we were still trying to get this for 25. You can't start the project, usually when the way that these work, once they get awarded, you can't start the project till after July 1st-ish. Don't quote me on the July 1st date, but it's in July.
I just
So, yes,
feel
this would be a
I feel
25
like
project.
I feel like when we met with him in the temporary space,
Yes,
that he was like, "Oh, you've already missed your window
Yes.
for."
we did at that point, yeah. That was for last year's, because we would have met with him probably in August, July or August.
Okay.
I believe that the deadline is, and I have all of this in an
I feel
email,
like
the
it's
deadline is
September.
like August.
Is it?
Yes,
Okay.
the deadline is like August. I don't know when they announce it, but you don't receive the money until July. And then, but you can get the bidding and all of that, so then in July, they can actually start.
right away, yeah.
That's the way that we've done them in the past.
Okay.
So I would expect that this would be no different, because those were all OPWC. The first one that we got was the 0% interest.
Yeah.
That was the same one that he got for us, so yeah, it would be, again, I don't know, the reason that we're doing this, actually, I think the deadline is in September.
That's what I thought.
But it's quite, I mean, it's quite a bit of work that he has to do,
Right.
because we had to have this meeting for him in July or August, and with the potential of maybe having Phantom in here in August, I didn't want to have all of
Yeah.
that going on at the same time.
Yeah, okay. Do we have plans yet on that project?
Mike has been working with, Mike's been working on it for quite a while. So I don't want to say we have complete plans or anything, but there's we've had meetings about it, with sidewalks and with different things like that. We've talked about quite a few different things on it.
Okay.
But the actual plans itself, I've not seen final plans or anything.
Okay.
But he will, Ben will need quite a bit of that information as he does the application.
Right.
But he'll work with Mike to get all of that.
Did they, I'm trying to think through the last couple ones. Do they come to council first to approve them before we? No?
Not the final details, no. I mean, it's very likely we'll have a lot of the information, and streets will have, it'll end up in the work session or something like that.
It's
as we
so
talk about
weird
it.
how many things have to get put like before the thing you actually approve the thing to do the thing.
Yeah, you guys
It's just
pretty
like-
much just approve the money, and the designs and everything, a lot of that gets done in there.
Okay. Okay.
You have to know the consequences and the costs.
There you go.
Well, I think we get a lot of questions about, well, what's happening with this project,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
when it doesn't come to council, we don't know those answers.
It's in the design phase.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a good answer right now. It's in the design phase. So, but yeah, I would assume Mike has much more detail than I've seen the last time.
Yeah. I do remember with the Jordan Road project, we definitely went through a couple
Yes.
things.
Well, a lot of times it's when you have option A, option B, and
Yeah.
we'd had that. We had an option A, option B, but when it comes to the sewer needs done, and this is what we're doing this to fix the sewer, and this is what the engineer recommends, and you don't have an option A and an option B, that's what we do.
Yeah.
So it always comes to you guys if there's an option A or an option B, especially when it has to do with pricing. This is
Yeah.
gonna be 500,000, this is gonna be over $1 million. This one might be better in the long run, but we can't, I hate using that, we can't afford it, but we have a lot of projects that we want to get done, so.
Right, no, I know.
Yes. So most times it comes to you guys more when it's deciding on A or B.
So, are we, I thought at one point we talked about that there'd be sidewalk, or not a sidewalk per se, but a pathway put in. Is that an option, or is that
Link us.
just part of it? No, this was not part of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this, again, I am not certain what they're gonna do considering the fact of the potential of the CODA and, all of that, if this is gonna be tied into that, or if this is gonna be something totally separate, or if it's going, I'm not sure where that sits right now with the potential of being able to get that, because if we can get free money for that, I don't think we're gonna tie them to the same, maybe we
yeah.
are, and maybe it's
Yeah.
just two different pools of money.
Yeah. And then, are we putting curbs in with this? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Sewers, curbs,
And and a curb, like a curb or like a dip thing?
Curb.
I don't know what you call it. Dip.
where I'm completely understanding as Tony as curb.
Yes.
And is this both sides
I
of the street or just the one?
distinctly remember
Yes.
having the conversation and hearing Mike Lickinger, and I also remember emailing him.
Yes.
Hey, all
I
road
agree.
projects will be, he's like, yes, all
Curb.
new roads will all have curbs installed, blah, 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 and I'm like,
Yeah,
perfect.
yes.
I have a knack for remembering.
And the street
that
gets
stuff.
repaved during that process then, or is it just
It's all coming
patched?
out. There's gonna be
Yeah.
sewers. It's
Yeah.
like I think it's a sewer and a
It is
road
a-
combo
yes, it is
project.
both.
So it's like storm
Is
sewers.
it, oh, it's storm sewers
think
and
so.
sanitary
So
sewers?
that's
there's
kind of
been
part of the
drainage
permit.
issues down in that area,
Yeah.
ever since
Uh,
they did the initial, so it's supposed to address all of that.
okay. So this is really a dig up the entire street.
This is a
Which is
major.
why we didn't do all the pothole,
Yeah.
there were some issues with some of the streets down there that we could have done a little bit better on some of the potholes, which there was already one that was having an issue, but, they were gonna cut out
Right.
several feet
Right.
or several yards of, and we didn't do it because
It's all
it's
gonna
coming
be
out.
done. And then,
We have to act our
and
way.
then, is this like phase one? Cause I keep hearing Minerva Lake Road, like, are we doing another section of Minerva Lake Road then? in the
There's gonna be
future?
multiple sections of it
Ideally,
is a
everything.
multi-year project, and only because you guys have seen the initial number
Yeah,
of this
no, I get
particular
that.
one. When
But
we did the road analysis in 2016, we just redid it again. We took some of the worst ones, which Valley continues to be on it.
Mm-hmm.
The service road is another one that's failing, over, which we all know, the huge potholes.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are several, at some point
The ones that got a bad grade are the ones we're gonna start with first.
Yes.
Basically.
I guess what I'm really asking is, how much of Minerva Lake Road does this entail? Like, is
As
it
of-
end to end, or,
Not right now.
I mean, do they all need to be replaced? at
Not-
some
no,
point?
I
Okay.
actually don't think so either.
Okay.
I think there are sections that are still okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
And there are much worse areas, and maybe we should say that, maybe some people believe the whole thing should be done. And
Yeah.
eventually maybe it will.
right,
But the problem is this one is failing, the section over there is failing, and the section over there is failing. So we're essentially attacking the failing ones, because unfortunately they've been let go for so long.
right, okay,
We are, at this point, we're being reactive, not proactive, and hopefully we'll get to the point that we can be proactive instead of reactive.
right, no, I get that, okay. It's been a while since I've seen the grades on everything,
Yeah,
and I don't remember the priorities.
We need like an annual report card.
yeah,
Well, I
that's what
think
they do.
Mike
Sewers
does
and
that.
streets.
Yeah, that's
Mike-
what they do.
Mike does that.
Yeah.
He does
We do
do,
get
the actual road analysis, I can't remember how much it was, you guys probably approved it, but it's tens of thousands. I mean,
Yeah.
it's for them to come in and do all of them. The big thing that Jeff and I had talked about, and I know we've already mentioned it in here, and I just mentioned it a couple weeks ago in the council meeting, was that we really need to start thinking about doing the crack, because the way I said it, people didn't know what I was talking about, the crack and seal.
Oh, yeah.
And that also is gonna be tens of thousands, tens of thousands. I wanna say somewhere between 40 and 60,000 is what we were estimating. It could be more because
Yeah.
it's so bad. But
But that-
that's just something that we really need to consider doing
Yeah.
to expand the lifetime
Exactly,
of
that
the ones
extends the
that,
life of
yeah,
what
the
we
ones
have,
that-
yeah.
yeah, the ones that might only have a B or C right now,
Mhm.
we might be able to extend
Right.
if we,
Fine.
Right.
so we have let that go.
Yeah.
That's only been done once since I've been here. And that includes council, so since 2018, that's only been done, and that was only done in a couple areas. I remember
40 grand.
getting an estimate for it in like 2018, 2019, when we did just do a little bit, and it was so expensive because we had already let some of those go. We were looking at it over on Maplewood, the area that we're getting ready to replace right now.
Yeah.
And so that was part of it. So some of the really bad areas, obviously we're not gonna have to do. But there's a couple spots even on Jordan that could definitely use that. And I mean, as far as Jordan goes, that road should not need to be done for a long time if we maintain it.
Right.
So, but there's some really bad spots on Wildwood.
Right.
I mean, you guys have seen them, so I feel like if we get that done, but that again is gonna be something that when we start talking about budgeting, we need to make sure that we get that put on there this year.
Right.
Potholes and, you know, all of that is continually getting way more expensive than it used to be. We used to spend about $3,000 to $4,000, I wanna say in 2018, it was like $3,000, $4,000. I think we spent $8,000 this year, and that's without that. So I mean, it's just doubled in the last couple of years.
Right. Okay. Any other street stuff?
No. It's too much already.
I know there's a lot, but I feel like we're always behind and
The thing is like, okay, well, now we're waiting for the engineering, like we're planning on this. I mean, it's all kind of mapped out in phases.
Yeah.
You know, we can
So,
have a plan.
is Jordan done? Are we done?
There's
with
a
that?
punch list.
Yes.
Okay, so we're down
So-
to the last few little,
Yeah.
fix
Yeah.
this, fix that. And
Yeah.
we even got, wasn't there something with Yasmin or something that we had to work out or?
I didn't see
I
that
don't
email.
Oh.
That doesn't sound familiar, but
I
maybe.
thought there was like one area that
One
we still
business that
had
hadn't
to.
responded to.
Maybe that was. I
That,
think we
no,
didn't
that's,
say Yasmin, but
that's
we
the
said one
rehab business.
Okay,
Okay, yeah,
So,
that is.
no,
no,
but
that hasn't
they
been.
did not respond, so it is now up to them to figure that out.
Okay.
Try to help them out.
That's too bad. I remember them coming in here being so responsive and talking to council.
Okay. And then Maplewood starts,
We don't know.
okay.
To be
Soon,
determined.
hopefully soon.
It's in the design phase.
Do we wanna discuss the email we received the other day about the roads, since this is
I mean, we're working on it, where it's in phases. Is that what you're talking
no,
about?
the gentleman
curbs?
that
Yeah.
emailed council
Yeah.
about
Go ahead.
Removing parking from Minerva Lake
removing
Road during
parking
that
from
timeframe.
Minerva Lake Road while that's being done.
Yes, that's the same email I'm talking
Okay.
about. So that was a large email, so, hold on, I just had it.
I mean, we already know we're not paving Minerva Lake Road from end to end.
Correct.
Correct, we just
don't
cannot,
have the
that
money
is
to
just,
do that.
we don't have,
So,
I think that there's a broad assumption that that's going to create a lot more traffic than it's actually going to cause
Right.
where
because
did
of
this email
that.
go?
right.
And that people, you might see,
Yeah.
maybe I'm biased, but the access to 161 directly for people that can't get there now are gonna perhaps come through there or
Yeah.
that there's a lot of other entry points to the,
And I think, and maybe I'm wrong on this, it's not been determined how many days this project's gonna be, how many weeks this project's gonna be, how many months this project's gonna be. I mean, this could be a week to 2 week ordeal and it's done.
Right.
It could also be is it 30 days? So we're hoping, you know, so again, I think some people might be thinking it's gonna be a lot longer than it really is, so, was that Maplewood or Minerva Lake? Maplewood, yeah. So Maplewood, we're thinking about 30 days. Minerva Lake, because of sewers, I mean, it could potentially be a little bit
Could be a
longer.
while.
Yeah, that's-
So it's hard to start determining, I mean, again, this is a 2025 project. I mean, we're
Right.
definitely
Right.
way far away from it still. It's in the design phase. So, you know, we have so much time on that one before, and like you said, who knows how they're going to do that. I don't know if it's gonna be one lane. I don't know if they're gonna close the whole thing. I don't know if you're gonna be able to turn onto Farview from Minerva Lake. I don't know if that's gonna be closed for 2 days. We don't know yet.
Right.
so
So
I
I think
guess,
it's hard to determine that until you know.
I don't think kind of limiting parking is a bad idea, we just have to know a little bit more in order to decide if we need to do that. I don't think it's a bad idea. If it's gonna be like a very extensive, fast-paced project, there's gonna be a lot of stuff there, I don't see a problem with that. But I would like to have a little bit more information until we make that decision, or just, I don't like to assume things.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think it's a bad idea.
I'm not basing this on my own thoughts, not anything scientific, but I would think if we remove parking from Minerva Lake Road, that would increase speeds on that road rather than decrease speeds on the road. Because now you're not weaving in and out of cars and waiting for
Yeah.
someone to slow down coming towards you.
Yeah, and I was just thinking maybe like, I don't even, like maybe temporarily for time frame wise too, where it's like, okay, during construction hours or whatnot, you know, maybe putting some cones out, things like that, I think that would deter some speeding and, some residents that do need to park on that street, maybe after hours, we could still give them that option. It's like I said, I don't have enough information to make an informed decision about that, but I don't think that's the worst idea.
don't know how much
As long as it's not
traffic,
detrimental to our residents.
Right.
If it becomes detrimental to our residents and not, helpful, then obviously we're not gonna do that.
Right.
But I'm open to considering it. The rest of the email,
I'm not sure that people cut through Maplewood to get to,
Minerva Lake,
yeah.
yeah.
I just don't think, you have to go through too much neighborhoods. I think they're going down Minerva Lake Road because
They know
it's pretty
it's a
much a
cut through.
straight shot.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't think people, I think
Yeah.
the traffic that comes out of Maplewood is the traffic that lives on Maplewood.
Yeah.
I feel like the people that are going down Maplewood know how to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest. It's unless you're using a GPS, you're not getting
Right.
the random person is not getting from Maplewood to 161.
Yeah, and thinking
Just
he's-
willy-nillying it, thinking and not even knowing if it ends in the
Right.
They don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and I'm going to promise you, your GPS is not taking you that way.
No.
And it's not a shortcut too, so it's.
So I would agree with that. I think the majority. I think this is horrible to say. Maybe I'm totally out of line and baseless on this, but I feel like the majority of our speeders that are coming through that people are talking about are your neighbors.
Yeah.
I truly do believe that. I feel like it's. I'm not saying it's kids. I'm not saying it's this. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the average person is not going from Cleveland Avenue to 161 via Minerva Lake Road or via.
Maplewood or any of those.
But I think anybody that's grown up in this area knows Minerva Lake Road is pretty much a straight shot.
Yep.
I would agree with that.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I mean, if we want to have like a plan B in our back pocket, like just say, I think
Yeah.
that's fine, but I'm just.
I think I kind of want to play it by ear and see, is there a way for us to, are we able to pull the trigger fairly fast? That's what I want to have that option.
I think you're going to have to, number one, anytime that there's road closures, you obviously have to let the police department know, the fire, and
Right.
all of that kind of stuff. Obviously, chief is going to know what's what with that. Determining whether or not you can have off street, if you are going to, that's a question to ask chief. I mean, I don't know if legally we can say you can't park on the street for 7 days without, maybe we can, maybe we can't. We can tell people no parking on the side of the road for a garage sale, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume we can, but can we long term for 30
Right.
days? I don't know. I'm not trying to sound like that person. I don't know. Like some people, I don't know if they can fit all of their cars in their driveway.
I always want to
Yeah.
understand what problem is it trying to solve? Does it actually solve that
Well, that's the
problem?
thing,
It
it's
might
like,
not,
do we
yeah.
have a problem and do we need to solve it? Like,
Right.
if it is a problem, I think that's not a bad idea, I just don't,
Yeah. I'm not convinced it's a problem.
right?
Well, it's
We'll
not a
find out.
problem yet because it hasn't,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the thing,
hasn't,
it's like, I
but-
think we need to, okay, here you go, ready? Let's have a plan B. If it is a problem, what are we gonna do about it?
Oh, I
So
guess that's
just
the
be
thing.
ready.
Can we say no parking is there?
Right, so we should look into
Would-
it and be able to pull
yeah.
the trigger if it's
Is-
a problem.
and that's
we
just gonna
need-
be a chief question. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like that is a very simple question
I
for
think that's
chief.
fair.
Hey, if we decide we
Yeah.
don't wanna, if we see that it's an issue with people speeding through Minerva Lake Road during this road construction, and I don't know that you don't have the same questions with the Maplewood right now. That
Yeah.
whole intersection's gonna be closed, and now you're gonna have, potential, again, I'm gonna go with mostly residents, they can't go out that way, so now they've gotta go out this way. Are they gonna be speeding through there a little bit more, trying to get to where they're going? I mean, again, it's 30 days.
Are they going to speed
We could
more,
step up
or are there
traffic
going to be more
enforcement.
speeders?
There you go.
I don't
Well,
think
the
they're
good
gonna
news
speed
is-
Or it's
more.
just gonna be congestion, so there won't be
Yeah.
as much speeding.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
so,
can add speed bumps.
No.
Could
I
be
can't.
temporary ones.
can we do
Right?
temporary?
Yeah,
speed
exactly.
bumps?
We can
I'm
use
okay
temporary
with
speed
that.
bumps.
We'll get those things that like pop up like a kid, like one
Spikes?
of those, like, oh, spikes, great.
Yeah.
If you-
No, but I'm okay with like 2 temporary speed bumps. Or what if we get speed bumps and then once in a while we move them?
Yes,
So-
because I saw it at Costco. They do it now in front of the. They put bumps right adjacent to like where the concrete starts, and they're out there, and it's like you just know that they're there, and you're like, oh, yeah. I mean, it's kind of one of those kind of annoying thing, you know. I always wanted to do like, this is not the right I always call them the Amish washboards. Weird, like when you're
Oh, the
off the side of
bump
the
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you're just like,
The
hey, what's
rumble
going on?
strips.
Yeah,
Oh,
rumble
exactly.
strips, that's
Yes.
right. You go, "Oh, what
Yeah.
is this? But I know when I'm driving across the place with those big old honking speed bumps,
over in
I can't speed.
Forest
No.
Park.
Yeah.
They're horrible.
terrible.
I
Yeah.
know.
And
Yeah.
there's a difference between trying to slow people down and breaking cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those ones I feel like that deters people from even driving over there.
And
even
maybe
if
that
it's-
was their maybe that was
Even
their
if you need
purpose.
to, yeah.
But if you literally drove over those every single day with your car,
You have to get
I mean,
You just drive slow.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't know.
even
I
that.
don't even know going that slow is not. Those are horrible.
Yeah,
Yes, they
they're
are.
very large. But maybe, okay, can we consider temporary surprise speed bumps? Like on Tuesdays they're there.
Let's do like can we like
No,
get
Wednesday
blow up
night
ones
out.
and we can just like inflate them and deflate them.
Ask Chief, I kinda, you know what, I want surprise speed bumps. Can we do that? For a little bit? So,
don't know,
hey,
streets.
traffic, I want it.
Okay.
I wanna consider that.
Look into it.
Yeah, so it's like this, like, you know, the thing we put out for, hey, are you speeding, the sign, and it moves? Why can't we have speed bumps like
Well,
that?
for the record, maybe I'm gonna say this. I don't think that thing has done anything for
Yeah.
any speeder. I think they
That's what
love
I'm
to see
saying.
how fast they can go.
It makes people feel good.
Well, let's put a speed bump right in front of it. Yeah,
Because when we, and
I want it.
maybe this was just mine, I feel like when we had the box out there that people could not see, the amount of speeders was like one a week. Not really, I mean, whatever it wasn't anything crazy, it was very minimal. And I think since we've had the box,
put it
this
out,
down here,
text the residents, this is where it's gonna be.
yeah, I mean, I just feel like it just makes people just not care. Like, okay, great, it's there, what are you gonna do about it? I know,
I like a temporary speed bump.
I don't know. And I don't have all of the statistics, but that's from what I've heard.
Okay.
Anything else? Though?
Okay.
The rest of the email, do you wanna address the rest of it?
I felt like those were the two big things: the paving and the parking.
Oh, I do wanna go through this one, yeah.
I mean, what do I have to say to that? We're working on it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I don't think that all of that, everything in that email I agree with, it's just a time and money situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too. Yeah.
Okay, I do have a piece of legislation I wanted to talk about really quick, if I can turn this one around. Are you guys done? We've got 15 minutes, mine will take 3.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Ordinance 16, 2024. It's the ordinance to setting policies and pricing of concessions for special events, blah, 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 whatever. Okay, we already know that. We want to get this passed tonight because we have the bomb pop thing that we're trying to put on, and as of right now, hopefully David is here,
Yep.
except we cannot do that. Yes, we can, if David's here. But if David's not here, I don't, so we'll see if he's here.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys have an Exhibit A and an Exhibit A. I gave you guys 2 Exhibit A's for you guys to review. There is one difference. Oh, you guys only have one. I have 2.
Okay.
Okay,
one is
so
my favorite
there
one
is
out of
something
this.
that's causing a little bit of an issue, and I know you guys might not necessarily agree with this, but employee discount is 15%. When you do 15%, it throws the registers to doing odd numbers of like 0.63 or 0.68 or whatever, instead of keeping everything simple. I'm not going to go in great detail, but I will tell you our concession stand and our pool, our pool numbers and concession stand numbers are throwing the audit off, and we are going to be highly reviewed because we had so many yeah, so it's going to be an issue. So I'm trying to simplify things for them. If we do employee discount, I'm not asking because they will vouch for me that they did give it to me once, I will say once, but the rest of the times I've never gotten it, so I actually don't ask for it. So the employee discounts, we were looking to switch it to 20% because that makes even numbers.
Okay.
And I know that sounds weird, but it keeps the pennies out, it keeps the blah, 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 it keeps us to nickels, dimes, quarters. It sounds like
That sounds fine.
we really can't, I mean, are you serious? We're really concerned about that, and
It's a
it
big
just
issue,
makes
actually, yeah.
things a little bit easier. So that's the difference between the, if you guys are okay with it, we will make sure that we give you guys all, and I will have him highlight.
Okay.
Do we have more than 20% margin on stuff?
Yes.
And most, again, the amount
Most
of
of it's
employees
at least
using it,
double.
it's
I
just
never use it.
Average
lifeguards.
is 2.5%.
and the amount of people that are using the employee discount is very,
It's small.
very minimal.
Yeah.
Barb and I don't go down there and,
Yeah.
eat
Oh,
lunch
you don't
every
get
day.
snacks at the
No.
pool for the discount?
No,
Well,
so,
and if you're paying with a credit card, it's not.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's not
So,
bad.
It's like little kids with
Yeah.
the, yeah.
and I do pay cash, so then there's no fees whatsoever, so I don't ever use my credit card down there.
Oh, well, look at that. I guess,
don't-
well, some people are more organized
I
than
am more
others.
organized. That's
And-
about,
and some
that's
people
about the
lose-
only thing I use cash for.
Some people lose their cash and don't call them out.
When David does get here, I will hand him this and I will make sure that he highlights these two things. So if you guys are okay with that, we will make sure that everything is uploaded the accurate way and this is the exhibit A that is in there. But I didn't want to put that in there and then you guys be like, no, 15% is the max we want to do. So I'm gonna leave this exhibit A in here and make sure. We did go ahead and do all products, all locations and end of season. I didn't want to leave it to one day if we decide to do it because of
Yeah,
weather.
right.
So if the weather's going to be
Yeah.
horrible Monday and we want to do it Friday, Saturday,
Right.
Sunday, so that's why we did end of season.
Right.
So as long as you guys are okay with that, we kind of threw that in there based on what you said, but not limiting it to
Yeah,
one
because
day.
last year we didn't do it at all, but then we had a lot of this left over,
Right.
a lot of that. And rather than fooling with it, we just kind of donated it.
Yeah. So,
Right.
and so yeah, maybe we do it Friday. Again,
Yeah.
I think weather permitting will make a big difference on that. And if we need to do it the whole last week, whatever, it enables us to be able to do it. So I will make sure he highlights these three things.
The only change though, the bomb pop should only be 25 cents, not 50.
We're only taking off 25 cents.
Yeah, there'll be $1, not 75 cents. Or $1.25.
Okay.
They'll go down to
Okay.
$1.
So 0.25.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Is that
Not
gonna throw it
this.
off?
No. Well, we're gonna fix this anyways and re-put it in there for this
Go down
exhibit
to
A.
80 cents for.
When
You can't do double discounts though. This system won't let you do double
yes,
discounts.
that is correct.
So you can't get an employee discount and another discount together.
That was what I asked last week because I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, you can't go.
So I will make sure that that's 0.25. We'll get that addressed, but we will say, based on Exhibit A that council has in their possession, or however David wants to say it, that Exhibit A will be uploaded to the agenda, the packet, and we'll make sure that we get it all the right way that it's supposed to be. So we have the old one attached. We have the new one attached. Do we have? No, we didn't attach that one, but we will make sure that we get that address. Any of the other legislation, so again, that benevolent.
15-2024. I don't know if anybody looked at this, if it looks familiar to you.
Oh yeah, it's the same thing that we did before.
We just did this as a resolution a couple months ago, and it turns out it was supposed to be an ordinance, not a resolution. So that's why you see an ordinance in front of you tonight.
Because it has to be turned in as an ordinance.
Okay.
Got it.
And so we will say that we passed it just a few weeks ago and,
Okay, that makes more sense now. I was wondering about
yes.
that. I'll go. I have maybe 3 pool things, and that's it.
Go for it.
We have all of the bands booked now. We just have to get the contract.
I'm gonna do
out.
the contracts tomorrow.
The first one went really well. I think it went well.
It was fun.
I think we had a good attendance. The music was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
So I think this next one will be even better.
Can we start getting advertisement to the resident?
It should be in the newsletter.
Is it?
I don't think we put the exact person the
Which is
group,
fine.
But we did. I had sent at least the clip art
Okay,
and said, "Hey, let's
perfect.
do that." It's already on the pool's website.
Okay.
So we just need to start that mailing cycle of sending that reminder out.
And then we
And
need to
then-
see if we can get it even, whether it's on the open discussion,
Yep.
whether or not we get it to a couple different places that way, because the very first person I talked to that was there was like, oh, if I knew, I would do this every Friday night,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. So, if we could get more advertisement leading up to it, I think that would be, and,
Yeah.
okay, what is the date on the first one?
It's the 12th for the next one.
Is July 12th?
Yeah.
Well, that's right, I'm not gonna be there.
Yeah.
July 12th, and it starts from 6 to 8
6 to 8. Yeah.
p.m., and we decided it's $8.
Yes.
You want to read that tonight just as your first one?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then movie night is,
August 3rd.
I just did paperwork for that, for Carrie.
Okay. Good.
And that is from,
The gates will open at 8. The movie will start at dusk. So
8 to 11-ish.
9-ish it will start. It's the live action Little Mermaid. We'll have special snacks and food and popcorn and games before the movie starts.
and we decided $5, $20 per family.
Max.
Yep, max. $5 per person.
And my question to you guys, without being the jerk that I started last week,
Oh, yeah.
is does anybody care? Maybe you guys don't care, or do we care? It's a $20 max, but do you want to put a $20 max up to 6 people, up to 8? Or do you want to say, I mean, the average person is probably going to be honest about it. I don't know that it's going to be a problem.
Okay.
But I can tell you it's been an issue down there with people just trying to get in for $12 or $15 instead of,
Yeah,
it's been a continual problem.
yeah.
So does anybody have an idea that would stop people without being jerks? Or we want residents there, we want people there, we want families there. And do we care that Susie's bringing,
Yeah,
Susie's bringing her best friend Tammy? I mean,
I say run it, and if it's a problem, then
Yeah, then
then
fix
solve
it.
it then.
I don't wanna-
worry too much about problems.
Yeah,
I don't
think you
wanna
can
s-
overcomplicate
yeah.
it if we-
okay.
I don't want to assume everybody's going to game the system about a nice thing that we're doing for our community.
Exactly. Oh no, it will happen. We know
Yeah,
that.
I know.
We've already learned that down there. So, but like I said, if
But
it's,
it happens all year, like, even other
does.
people are like, hey, I'm buying a membership, can I add my neighbor's kid onto my membership? Well, no, not really, but
if you're gonna do it, we're not gonna come.
we're not
knock on
gonna
your
know
door.
that that kid's not yours. How many families have different
not-
last
yeah.
names already anyways?
We're not doing DNA
So,
samples or
yeah.
anything.
So,
And I would say this, I think at some
Exactly
point,
like-
we do have to get more particular. If you go to Westerville and you try to get into Westerville, you're showing your driver's license.
Yeah.
And if you do not live in Westerville, you're not getting it.
yeah, exactly.
So if you've been to some of these other places, they
Right.
do make you
Yeah,
show.
what happens if you're a kid and you don't have a driver's license? And I don't know
Go
what
get
Westerville
one.
does.
They make you give the address.
Yeah,
They
just
ask
give
you
me-
for your address, point spot right there.
Yeah,
Tell them to bring their electric bill.
Tell them to bring their electric bill.
there you go.
I'm just kidding. But I do
Start a
think that at
business
some
for your-
point,
for your tax.
we do need to be
Yeah,
more
we'll have to
particular.
have one more, some discussions,
Yeah.
in-depth discussions.
But don't they have our pictures on there?
They're
But it
supposed
doesn't
to,
matter,
but a lot
like,
of people
I mean,
don't.
if I sign.
But that's another thing, we are not being forceful about people uploading their pictures and saying,
Yeah.
oh, your picture's not here, you can't come into the pool kind of thing.
Yeah, that's it. At least we should do that.
Yeah,
It's like,
there are some things that we can do to kind of
But I
Yeah.
mean,
help, but.
if I signed up Tanner, Taylor, and Grace, which is somebody that's with us all the time, you're not gonna know that, John is not gonna, well, John would know because it's me, but as just a random resident, he's not gonna know that Grace is not my kid, but
Right.
it's,
Buy an ID printer, and then the first time they show up, everybody gets their ID
Yeah.
photo taken, and then they get IDs issued, and then they just have to have their ID, so mom shows up
Yeah.
and goes,
We
here's
never-
their
We
ID,
looked
it's
at
coming
those.
in.
Yeah.
And we
I
could sell
looked at
lanyards too.
Yeah.
I think that there are other ways around it. I think if we're really trying to, I know we're not trying to be in the business of making, if we're following the rules and we're doing the things that we need to do, we can't continue to lose money because
Right.
we're just letting people in for
Right.
an extra $20 and they're bringing 3 of their
Right.
neighbors.
kids' closest
Yeah,
friends.
we just
Yeah.
we really have to kind of
And
figure it out.
And
get
I'm
into
not
the
saying it's,
details of it.
again, I'm not saying that these are residents doing this.
I know.
So, I mean, this could be people that
Yeah.
live over here, we don't know who their kids
We
are.
don't.
So,
Yeah.
there are a lot of blended families.
Yeah.
Or
we
the
don't.
other thing is, I think it's a marketing thing, or why can't we say like, hey, this is a fundraiser to help maintain the pool, not like, hey,
Oh,
this
sure,
is a-
sure, yeah.
you
as
know,
a-
and I feel like
Yeah.
if you word it that way, maybe
Yeah.
people will be a little more honest about it.
Yep.
How about that? That's
Save
free.
the pool.
Yeah, save-
Yes.
Save the pool, go watch Little Mermaid, that's cute, I like that.
Put it on the water tower.
As of,
Yeah.
Save ferrets.
We don't
As
have
of the
water towers, we
20th.
can't afford this.
Yes,
which is a week ago, we had 252 members.
that's awesome.
Woo!
94 of them are non-residents,
Woo!
which is actually down from previous
really?
years. Yep.
That's amazing.
35 are seniors, so I don't know if they're resident or
Okay,
not
that
resident.
makes
I'd have to
sense.
physically look
Okay.
at their addresses and figure it out. I
Right.
haven't done that yet. And 123 are residents.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
That's so
so I
cool.
think that's
Yeah.
pretty.
That's
I think
really
that's
good.
pretty good.
Good job.
I'll try to put some more details together as we go forward, and maybe some graphs and charts and
Yeah, that is awesome.
data. I'd also like to. I know we're up from last year.
Data or data?
The
Oh, yeah,
2 years ago, we definitely hit 250 memberships.
right.
Last year, I think we fell short by, I think we were in the 230s. It's nice to be back at 252. We've actually had a lot of people join in the last 2 weeks. I'm surprised how many of those notifications
Well-
that have been coming through.
And the weather's gonna be super nice this
Yeah.
upcoming week, so I
Yeah.
feel like with it being 4th of July and all that kind of
Right.
stuff, I feel like it's gonna be really busy this week too.
Yep.
So, I'm just thinking about that. And it was busy today. I went down there.
Good.
There was a lot. There have been so many more kids there this year
Uh-huh.
than I've seen in the last 2 years, which
Yeah.
is, I
There's a lot
definitely
more
don't want to say it was relaxing down there today, but it was great to see all of the kids out of their parents' basements.
Yes. Woo! I agree. I was gonna look real quick.
Just tell them to get a job.
I know, there's like 12, come on.
Go start a business.
Ooh, that's where the best recruiting for pool lifeguards and
Actually,
concessions.
Yeah.
Have you
We
thought
should
of, you're
start.
such a strong
You-
swimmer. Have you thought about
you're
being a
so-
lifeguard?
yeah, start at 12.
There, you know how much
No.
more paperwork goes into it? I'm just
Start
going with that.
incepting at 12, and then by the time they're 16, we could be like, remember, you were so great at 12. You're ready to, you are ready now.
I wanna see, one of the things I wanna try to bring to
Oh, I ate
y'all
my
is, how we're doing compared to last year at some point, so that we can kinda see. But I need to pull that and put it into a spreadsheet so y'all can see if we're trending up or down.
Plotter graph,
Yeah.
PowerPoint on that.
Yeah.
I'd like a PowerPoint.
Yeah, we did have a couple really good days down at the pool last week.
Yeah, we definitely did, yeah.
Close to $2,000-ish.
Yeah.
I don't wanna say
Awesome.
exactly, cause I haven't seen the numbers, but I was told it was roughly that. And that's just the day passes, so the day the day passes are, yeah,
Last week alone, the pool as a whole, concession stand and pool, did over $9,000.
yeah. And one of those days was like $2,000.
So,
Are we gonna break even this year, you think?
yeah.
Well, if it stays, I mean, you gotta remember, the first 2 weeks of the pool was so cold, we couldn't even go.
Yeah.
I mean, that was not the best thing in the world, but
Saturday we broke over $2,000.
yeah. And then we do have, one of the other things that has brought in a little bit of money this year, or quite a bit of money this year, is we've had some of the daycares there. They're usually only there for about 2 hours, but they're paying like $8 a kid. So, and some of them are bringing in 70 kids. So do the math, that's over $500.
$560.
And I think, you know, I think
Sometimes that's twice a week.
they probably have spending money, they're spending it at the concession stand.
Yep.
We go through the cheap stuff, the
Oh, yeah.
airheads, the hard candy like crazy.
Yes.
Okay.
All the kids have quarters and 50
I've
cents and
probably ordered maybe 15 sets of those boxes of the Juicy Drops and the
Oh, yeah.
Push already this year.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And it's $2. I'm like, y'all, that's
Yeah.
a lot of sugar.
right.
Can you order like one healthy thing for my kid, because I'm tired of having tantrums over there? Like
Yeah.
no red dye 40 for like 2 things for the crazy
I'll
moms.
have to look. There are pretzels there now.
Do you think my kid wants pretzels
No.
or a pink lollipop? What do you think she's gonna pick?
Yeah, not the pretzels.
Not
Just
the
don't show her the pink lollipop.
Oh, she knows.
Oh.
You think she doesn't know? Have you met them?
Sorry.
Hey, wait, what's that?
Right, I gotta
Creamsicle?
eat.
We need creamsicles down there.
Can we?
It was a request from.
Dreamsicle.
No, I think he needs a creamsicle. We had this conversation earlier today.
Okay.
Gotta find him.
All right, let's, we get to adjourn the committee as a whole meeting.
You still have it.
Oh, it's there, yeah.
Are we good to adjourn this
Yes.
other meeting? Okay, let's adjourn this other one and then
Yes.
stop these recorders.